Last episode, we completed 21 quests and left off with some AFK fishing. The goal for this episode is to quest a little bit more and to figure out what our first step should be towards getting a fire cape.
And let's get started.
To start things off, I wanted to do a few quests. I first did Elemental Workshop Part 2, just to get some extra crafting and smithing levels, and then I did Goblin Diplomacy. In case you didn't know, you actually don't need to kill a bunch of goblins to get the goblin mail before the quest. There's actually 3 crates hidden around the goblin village where you can get the goblin mail from. I didn't record me searching through the crates, but I should have. But you can find the locations on the wiki. It makes the quest a lot easier for Ironman. And then I did the goblin part of RFD. Here's the part of the video where I tell you to press the like button. And then Lost City. Next, I did Fairy Tale Part 1. I did the goblin part of RFD before this quest so that I would have level 9 farming. Because the damage you do to the boss at the end of the quest, Tanglefoot, in Fairy Tale Part 1 actually depends on your farming level, so it's way easier the higher your farming is. Unfortunately, though, there was no way I could tank the Tanglefoot with my stats. I was going through cakes way faster than I could damage it, so I ended up having to flinch the boss, which took a pretty long time. This is a flinch spot, by the way, in case you're curious. But eventually, I got the Tanglefoot killed, and I finished the quest. Then I went ahead and did enough of Fairy Tale Part 2 just to unlock fairy rings. Fairy rings would be super helpful for future questing and just getting around the map in general. They're really useful. But random tip of the day, in case you didn't know, you don't actually need the farming or herblore level requirements for Fairy Tale Part 2 to get far enough in the quest to unlock the fairy rings. You actually unlock the fairy rings pretty early on in the quest, which means you can get them way earlier than you otherwise would be able to on an Ironman. Anyway, next I did some AFK fishing, and I started thinking about what my next move should be. I don't want to just keep questing in a random order without direction forever. If you remember from episode 1, my 2 main goals for this account are to complete as many quests as possible and to get a fire cape. And after thinking about it, I decided I wanted to go ahead and start working towards the fire cape goal. But before I could attempt the fight caves, I knew there's at least 6 things that I need to get. First would be a decent range level, probably 75, 80-ish. Next is 43 prayer for all of the protection prayers. Maybe even get a higher prayer level. Full void range. That's no-brainer as to the best range armor I could get. Imbued magic short bow, broad arrows, and prayer potions. So those are the 6 things that I knew I needed to get first. Getting an imbued magic short bow is the most difficult and time-consuming of these tasks, definitely. It takes 2 things. First is level 80 fletching, and the second is a magic short bow scroll from Last Man Standing. I knew that I wanted to spend some time AFKing soon, since my semester in grad school is just starting to get intense, so I decided the first thing I would go for is a rune axe, so I can chop logs to train fletching pretty efficiently. It worked out pretty well because I had just unlocked fairy rings, which meant I could access the Enchanted Valley, which is where tree spirits are. The tree spirits can be pretty easily safe spotted. They drop a good amount of nature runes and have a pretty decent drop rate of the rune axe, so it'd be perfect. I ended up getting the rune axe pretty quickly, and it was time to move on. I had gotten an easy clue scroll earlier from fishing, so I decided to go ahead and try and do that. This is the reward I got. The helmet looks pretty cool, but I can never actually wear it because it's tradable, And the teleports are actually useless on this account because I can't ever go to the Elflands since Biohazard requires wearing a priest gown. So this would have been a pretty good clue for any other accounts, but pretty useless for me. I guess not all the clues I open are going to be as good as a Rune Scimitar ornament kit, so I shouldn't really be too surprised. Then I went ahead and did the Holy Grail quest for the Prayer XP. Killing the Black Knight Titan in this quest took me like 15 or 20 minutes. It was pretty tedious, but eventually I got it done and killed it. Next I went ahead and did the Bar Crawl mini quest, and then I started AFK some woodcutting and fletching. As I was AFKing, I decided it was about time that I finally test something out on my main account. If you remember from previous episodes, we've talked about Last Man Standing quite a bit. There's a reward shop with items like Magic Shortbow Imbued Scroll that turn normally tradable items into untradeable versions of them. And this sounds super good for the account, but if you think about it, why would I be able to do the minigame anyway? You're geared with tradable gear, like Mystic Robes and Black D-Hides in the minigame, so it really would seem like a no-go for this account. But something we eventually figured out is that the items within Last Man Standing actually have different item IDs than the items outside of the minigame to prevent them from being smuggled and alked or sold. So this means that they aren't their usual tradable versions of the items, so it should be fine for me to wield them. If you can already figure out where I went wrong with that logic, though, good job, because it took me way too long to realize. So I decided to go on my main into Last Man Standing to make sure that the items actually did have different IDs. I did this by doing what I usually do on zero tradables to make sure that the item isn't actually tradable. I put the item in the price checker. If it was able to go in, it was tradable, and if it wasn't, then it was untradable. And unfortunately, this is what I found. The items actually do have different IDs, but they're still tradable. I guess it makes sense because when you PK someone in Last Man Standing, they drop those items, so I guess they need to be tradable for that to happen anyway. So I should have expected that looking back. But the same day I found this out, my semester's workload started increasing a ton, and my motivation for the account dropped a few weeks. I was thinking I wouldn't be able to do range at all unless I used Blue Right Crossbow, and I really didn't want to do Jad with the Blue Right Crossbow. So I haven't been playing on this account as much the past few weeks. I've mainly been going on to just AFK woodcutting and fletching. That being said, though, I've still been thinking about what I can do. And since the rules of my account are specifically about pressing equip on tradable items, I think I can still do Last Man Standing. My idea is that as long as I don't equip anything tradable, it's okay. Just like how, say I had a trident and I charged it enough so that it's untradeable. If I equip it, even if it becomes tradable later, if it runs out of charges, that's still okay because I never equipped a tradable item. So I think it would be the same with Last Man Standing. When I go in the minigame, it automatically puts items equipped on me. I never pressed equip on those items. So I think I could still play Last Man Standing, but just without any gear swapping. It'd certainly make for some interesting PvP without being able to do switches. So it'd definitely be way harder, but I think I could still do it. But I want to get your opinions. Let me know what you guys think. If you think that's still cheating, I won't do it. So let me know. Anyway, sorry there's not too much progress this episode, and for the longer wait. I hope you guys can understand. I'm getting my master's in computer science right now, and sometimes I just won't have time or motivation to play. So this account may progress slower than my chunk man did, but the progress will come eventually. I hope you guys enjoyed. Please let me know what you think about the Last Man Standing rules I proposed. Please give the video a like and press the subscribe button, and I hope you all have a great day.
And let's get started.